Welcome to another episode of the Rugby League Outsiders. My name's Craig.
And my name's Karl.
And today we've got an incredible guest in Liam Cashman, who is becoming a stalwart of the Telford Raiders. We're going to chat to him about his up-and-coming final appearance in a couple of weeks. And we've also got some great news, including a bit of Super League news, which you don't often cover on this podcast, but there's some real interesting stuff going on. So that's it. Karl, do you want to...
Super League news, international news, and obviously the big story is the run-up to the Midlands Final, which is it's the final preview show.
Yeah, the big preview.
Right, okay, tackle one then. We'll get straight into it. And this big news that's rocked the rugby league world. Warrington Wolves have got a new head coach, and it's none other than Sam Burgess. Liam, what are your thoughts on bringing Big Sam in as a head coach?
Yeah, it's massive, isn't it? Like, to get probably the biggest name in the English rugby league back over coaching is crazy. It really shows how many people could be brought in just because of that.
Yeah. Good move though, or not? Because I don't think the Warrington fans are too happy, to be honest with you.
Massive for the media on the pitch. That's left to be seen, isn't it?
Yeah, I think a bit of a gamble. What do you think, Craig?
It isn't a gamble, but I think it's the mark of the person that Sam Burgess is. You know what I mean? He's never been shy to bite off a massive chunk or whatever it is and just chew it up. So I hope it's not too early for him, and I hope it doesn't sort of kill him off in his coaching, before he starts. So a lot of people will be talking about it. A lot of people will be watching him.
If it doesn't work, Warrington are going to become a laughing stock.
You reckon?
Yeah. They put pressure on themselves every year. Sort of, it's their year. This year they're going to do it, and they hype themselves up. Like they're always the most hyped team, aren't they? Every single year. So bringing in an unproven coach, I think is a massive gamble. But
then you say that, and it's like you look at the team on paper, and like just some absolute amazing players.
Yeah.
And maybe they just need some inspiration, a bit of guidance, and maybe Sam's the man to do that.
Well, he's a leader of men, isn't he?
That's what they say.
Whether he's a good coach or not, he's if he told you to run off a bridge, you'd probably follow him, wouldn't you? He is a leader, born leader. Not the only coaching casualty though this week. So Darryl Powell has left Warrington. We've also what I probably think is the strangest coaching move of the year is Sean Long has left Featherstone. Featherstone top of the table, clear on points, no one in touching distance of him at the minute. So for him to leave, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, they put out a statement last night, and because I knew he was including this in the set of six, I made sure I kind of read it. Now, there wasn't a great deal of substance in the statement. It was like, we've lost 3 on the bounce, so we really want to invest in our coaching team and blah, blah, blah. And it was almost like Sean Longs had taken him as far as he could, and it was just bollocks, really. You know what I mean? and so, yeah, I don't really know what's gone on. I know that, he's obviously going to support Sam Burgess well, and maybe one of the things, with Sam Burgess taking...
It's not confirmed he's going to Warrington, is it? But
come on.
Yeah.
He is, isn't he? He is. Is he?
I don't know.
You're the man in the know.
I've not got that inside. Well, it was strange that Leon Price left Featherstone earlier on in the season as well. I thought that were the first alarm bells. We'll see what happens. Okay, tackle 2, move on.
Oh, do we include Andy last, weren't you?
Andy last, yeah.
Another one's gone.
Another casualty at Castleford. The Cass fans refused to leave the stadium after the game.
Why? Just in protest.
In protest. They weren't leaving until he got sacked. Did you say? I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, fuck.
And he did get sacked quite quickly after. So I think Castleford are in a dangerous position now. I think they're probably favourites to face the drop. Is it 2 weeks' time or a week's time? It's Cass versus Wakey.
No, that's a game.
Yeah, the big West Yorkshire showdown. I don't know what we're going to call that.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's going to be big. And who do you reckon, Cass or Wakey?
Wakey has to be, doesn't it?
You still think Wakey going to?
They're going strong. Cass, but just haven't got it in them.
Well, being a Leeds fan, I'd be interested to see what Blake Austin does at Cass. Now he's
another story we haven't mentioned.
Yeah, he's going to cross there. I think he'll absolutely kick himself if he end up going down. Well, he was stay, will he?
Well, no, he'll be back in NRL and sunning himself on a beach somewhere.
Yeah, that's obviously why he's there on loan until the end of the season. I presume if they stay up, then he's going to stay there or whatever. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting. Maybe he's the one to spark him and get him in winning form again. But we'll see. You're all interested.
And your team Leeds.
Yeah.
What are you going to say about them?
Not a lot.
Average, aren't they?
Yeah.
Not good enough for Leeds, though.
No.
They've been like that for a few years now. I think it's time they cracked on.
Yeah.
Right, tackle 2 then. Massive news really. Rugby League World Cup has finally been sorted out. No thanks to the French, but it were not the way. Well,
yeah.
No other way to put it really.
Yeah.
So it's been put back a year to 2026, and it's going to be in the Southern Hemisphere. Very, very disappointed at the news coming out of it. There is only going to be 10 teams in the Men's World Cup, so it's been cut down from 16. I've got the teams here that are basically it's the top 8 from the last World Cup. So Australia, Samoa, England, New Zealand, Tonga, Papua New Guinea, Lebanon and Fiji, and there's just 2 places to fight for to make up the 10, which for developing nations and, made such strides in the last World Cup.
Yeah, like Greece was a massive story, and
Jamaica, there's no Wales there, there's no Scotland there, there's no Ireland there. They're all going to have to fight out. There's no France there, but I think they should be kicked out. Anyway.
Forfeited their place.
Cash, thoughts? You think it's a backward step?
We'd want Wales there, wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think it's hard because how can you get anybody in through the pathways if they know that there's no World Cup?
Yeah,
and for the next cycle, will they bring it back from 10? Who knows?
Yeah, it's just sort of made a mess of the whole thing, really, hasn't it? What else we got then? The Women's World Cup. So some good news on the back of that. The Women's World Cup, going to have same number of teams in that, and that's then going to become a standalone event every 2 years. So I think that's quite a positive step in the right direction. I think international sport is a way to grow the game, isn't it? So I think the women's been every 2 years a standalone competition. That's a win. Not much more I can say about that other than I'm quite disappointed, really.
Seems a long time to wait, isn't it? 2026 is a long time to wait for a World Cup.
But a more positive news, tackle 3.
Here we go.
The Ashes is back. Yes. England, Australia, or Great Britain, Australia, however they decide to play it, that is going to be back in 2025 and also in 2028. So, it's been so long since we've played the Aussies in an Ashes series or in any international fixture. I'm well happy that that's back.
Are they talking about Great Britain then, or is it?
I don't. It hasn't been announced whether it's going to be Great Britain or England, but in my opinion, Great Britain's dead now because without a strong Wales, Scotland, Ireland, if we're not, the last Great Britain tour was a bit of a joke, wasn't it? It was literally just the England team, and they just rebadged it. I think it's I think Great Britain's probably had its day now.
Papua New Guinea was probably the most entertaining game of the tour.
Yeah. They got a right kicking, didn't they? Absolute kicking. Anything else to add to that?
Nope. Just all good news.
Right. Tackle 4 then. The Women's Super League Midlands was held in Telford this week. The Nines tournament that took place. I think this was the 4th tournament of the year. Really good to see that that's going really strong. I know they changed it how the sort of the league's gone this year, and they've decided to play it in like sort of mini festivals and take it down to 9-a-side. But the teams that are all entering it, they get strong teams now. Telford came out on top with Coventry coming up runners up. So we're just waiting to see who's going to be included in the final on the 19th. So news to come on that.
As in what? Am I right in thinking that Telford have won most of their games now?
Yeah.
Do you expect them to be in the final? I mean, what's to be organised? I don't really.
Yes, I don't think it's been fully decided how they were structuring the festivals and how the points have worked and things like that. But I think Telford are expected to be in it because I think they've won more of the tournaments.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll catch up with that. Just while we're on, I'd like to on the next show get some of the women's players on for the next show on the run up to that final. So if you're included in that final, get in touch with us on our socials. We'd love to get you on. We'll do a big preview show for that as well.
Yeah, can't wait.
Right, tackle 5 then. It's a results roundup. So we've, obviously we're in the Midlands and we're keeping a close eye on the Midlands, but at this sort of time of the year, the finals are all coming up. It's only right that we start mentioning the semi-finals from the other areas, especially since they're going to be involved in the Harry Jepson Cup this year. So results from the semi-finals. So the East of England was Bedford Tigers. Their A team came out on top against St Albans. That was 60 points to 26. Hemel Stags lost to the Anglian Vipers. That was 12 points to 52. So it'll be the Anglian Vipers versus the Bedford Tigers in the final for the East of England. And then the London Men's League, it was the Brixton Bulls 2, the London Chargers 4. Wow, what a close game that was.
Football scores.
2 points in it. Medway Dragons 22 and the West Warriors 20. So that'll be the Medway Dragons versus the London Chargers in the London Men's League. And we also caught up with Brad HIRONS from the Bedford Tigers, and this is what he had to say regarding the last weekend's game. Hi Brad, how you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you?
Not bad. This is Karl speaking. The other voice you can hear is Craig.
How you doing, Brad?
And the third voice you can hear is Liam.
Hi there.
Hi guys, you all right?
Sounded very sexy
He
there.
did, didn't he? He said all silken. Hi.
Okay, Brad. It's lovely to have you on the show. Just like to talk you through your season, really, and how it's gone, and what you've got looking forward to. I know you got your women's team in the semi-final, and your A team is in the final, the men's league, isn't it, against the Anglian Vipers? Just give us a bit of a lowdown on your season, please, mate.
Yeah, that's correct. We run 2 adult men's teams and 2 women's teams and a wheelchair development side as well. The women have again reached the Women's Super League South semi-final, so massive achievements for them once again this season. Every player that comes is just developing and getting stronger with every coaching session, and the fact that they're now there's match payments for them players that play in the women's team is just an extra step in the right direction for the club. In terms of the men's side, it's been a bit of a roller coaster, really. Trying to put out 2 teams most weekends, with both teams travelling to areas of the country that are nowhere near each other, like Bristol and Colchester, and then games into London. It's been quite difficult to get the buy-in. Well, since COVID, really, we've not really replaced a lot of important players that were like a glue in the side, and the young lads that have come in have done really well. We've got a lot of 17, 18, 19-year-olds around the team now, and their youthful sort of exuberance has sort of clicked with a little bit of experience in the A side, and the A team of every game they've played this season they've won. Unfortunately, they couldn't fulfill a fixture earlier in the season, and that's just the part of the parcel of some weeks that we get at the club. The first team have struggled. I mean, you may have looked at the league table and seen that we've had to forfeit a few fixtures for the first team, and I'm just glad that we've got a development side that is putting in good results. So then next year and the years after, the years coming, are going to be sort of more positive, if that makes sense. But it has been a really good year all round, but it's been very roller coastery for off the field in terms of just trying to select sides to play every weekend. Yeah.
So do you think you potentially stretch yourself a little bit thin then? We're trying to host 2 teams every week.
We've been okay every year up until this year. I think the long rugby union season last year has meant that we were struggling at the start of the season to put out 2 teams. It's been a little bit easier throughout the last few weeks and stuff, and we've not necessarily had that issue. But even 2 weeks to go till the fixture, we're already kind of like, okay, this team has to sort of do this, and these players are not available, so who's going to have to step up and who's going to miss out on the final? And arguably the final is the bigger game for the club, but we need lads to step into that first team game, because if we can't fulfil one fixture, we can't fulfil either. So it's about the team just sort of coming together and sort of doing it for the club, but also respecting those lads that have put the effort in and are happy to do everything for the club to to survive basically this season. It has been one of those years. This year, I would say we've probably been stretched a little bit thin, but we want to win the league to go with the cup that we won a few weeks ago and kick on and keep the lads that have won that tournament around.
Brad, I don't want you to give away too many sort of team secrets and all that kind of stuff, but have you got players in the development side that are going to make the step up that you're excited to see how they do? And if so, who are they?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, we've had a lad from called Kyle come in this season. He's previously played for Rochdale Mayfield, but Canadian heritage, and played at some really, really high-level clubs. And he's really come on and sort of just made a lot of friends, and he's come in and just excited us a little bit. And so he's played quite a lot this season. Young lads like Rory Town, Rion and Luke Wilson have come in. They're 17, 18 years old from the local rugby union Colt side, and have just bought into it. And Luke's made himself available every week. Rory has made himself available every week. Rion's been available as much as he can, but he's in a Northampton Saints academy and got Scotland trials. And so trying to put these lads in alongside lads like Josh Spearing, who have played League One before, it is quite nice to see these lads sort of getting on, and we've got experience mixed with these young lads, and they're just developing really nicely. But we just need to find a way to keep them so they don't go to other clubs, if that makes sense.
And just going back to like the senior side, I mean, who have you got any stalwarts there that are making, what are the interesting stories really? Is anybody making a significant number of appearances, or has been around for years and deserves to be in this final?
Yeah, Rob Ashton, who is the kind of director of rugby and sort of does a lot for the club. Like, he's involved in every single aspect of the club. He played in the semi-final last weekend in the second half, because during the first half he was coaching the women's team in their game that they narrowly lost out to the Army in. Sam Richbell, another club stalwart since he joined the club, I think in the early 2000s. Unfortunately, he'll miss out on the final because of a serious leg injury he picked up at the weekend. There's a guy called Sean, known around the club as Treacle. He is the second team captain, and if he isn't a man to motivate you, then you're just not going to get motivated at all. So there's so many. I think Treacle must have scored coming up at least 50 tries in however many years he's played over many. And I think he said if he wins this year, it'll be his fourth title, and then he's won 5 cups now. So he's happy to retire after this season if we win the league. He just wants to win the league and the cup this year, and then he's going to step down. So it could potentially be his last game for the club.
I've heard a lot of people say that before.
I was too excited.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've definitely heard you two say it before on the pod.
Still going. Right, so your opponents in the final, then in the men's final, should I say, is it Anglian Vipers? Have I got that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
Did they finish third in the league? You guys finished top.
Yeah, they finished third in the league. I believe they've beaten everyone in the East region apart from us since they've become a club. So,
right.
So far we've managed to have quite a strong hold on them. But every single game we play against them, it gets tighter and tighter. And like, their team is different every week. Our team is different every week. So playing at a neutral ground might benefit them more than it benefits us. And it's just about seeing which team we can put out, because we know that they're not an easy side to play against. And if they've got 50, 60 lads to pick from with just one team, we know that they're not going to be shy and coming forward on the pitch. So we've got to respect, even though we haven't lost to them before in the 2-3 years that they've been a club, we know we've got to respect them in that way. That they are a really strong side. So we've just got to be wary of what they offer. And Robbie that runs that club, he knows that they've got a chance, and they've got to work hard to beat us, and we've got to work hard to beat them.
Well, it sounds like you got the right mindset there. Anyway, Brad, so from me, best luck with your final. I'll definitely keep an eye out and see what the score is.
Yeah, Brad.
Yeah, cheers.
Just quickly, have you got one? Well, I know you've got a game to get through yet. Have you got one eye on the Harry Jepson Cup? Because I know that you'll be involved in that should you manage to make it through the final on the 19th.
Yeah, I believe we do. I'm hoping that the rugby union season won't curtail sort of plans of entering that competition, because there's rugby union clubs with pre-season friendlies on the 19th, which is obviously the same day as the final. So we're trying to convince lads that, you know, this cup final is more important than rugby union, and hopefully we can stick lads around. I mean, our last first team game in the Southern Conference League is the 1st of September, which is the Friday night. So hopefully the lads will still be keen to play into September, and then we'll see how far we can go from there. I mean, we've been in that competition before, and we've done pretty well in that competition before. We've got further than we probably were hoping to in some years, but the fact that tournament's come around again and it means something to clubs at the community level. I mean, we're definitely looking at. We'll look to see how this final goes first. I think both teams definitely deserve to be in that competition, and if we win, then we'll look at the season and say, okay, let's push on and see how far we can go here. But we know that there's going to be some tough journeys in there if we do get through.
Yeah, best of luck, mate, for the game.
Cheers, lads. Thank you very much, and I look forward to listening to it and hearing what everyone else has got to say as well.
No worries.
Well, just, you know, listening to Brad there, lots going on at Bedford. I mean, I didn't realise they had a couple of, you know, senior team, well, an A team, a development team, a women's team, a wheelchair development team.
Yeah,
you know, so much going on.
Yeah, really successful club, and I think they do a lot right. They're a bit of a trailblazer in the south for how they run a rugby league club. Have you played for them, Craig?
I haven't played for them. I do have a friend who was part of like setting up the team. I've played against them and got an absolute kicking. I remember the game. You know, I got just fucking beaten up by Bedford. So yeah.
Right, we'll move on to then our last tackle there, and sort of with our preview show for today. So it's the Midlands semi-finals concluded. Birmingham got a bye into the final. Oxford unfortunately were unable to field a team, and Telford Raiders came out on top, 24 points to 10 against Leamington Royals, which was a real battle in the rain. Really hard fought game between two fantastic teams this year. We caught up with both Phil CAVANAGH, the Telford head coach, and Sean FLYNN, the Birmingham head coach, and here are these clips now.
Hey up, Phil, how's it going?
Yeah, all right, thanks, mate.
Yeah, we're going to go straight into it, mate. So obviously you've got myself, Karl here, and we've got Cash here as well. So we just wanted to catch up about the upcoming final. Well, a little bit about the season so far and how you think it's gone, and then also, have a little chat about the final. You okay with that?
Yeah.
Man, a few words on the podcast.
Well, if you get me talking, I won't stop.
Yeah.
Right, might as well semi-final then. Give us a quick review then, Phil. How do you think the team played this weekend just gone against Leamington?
I think we had to dig deep. I thought in the first half, defensively, we were very strong. We didn't give much in attack at all. To go in winning 6-4 at half time, I think was very flattering to us. Probably didn't deserve it. They were a much better side in the first half. Second half, I think it was just numbers in the end, probably. They didn't have, I think they only had 2 subs. We had a full complement. And I think it was just that in the end, it just pushed us away from them for the last 10, 15 minutes of the game.
Sounds like a slightly unhappy coach, to be honest with you.
Well, at the end of the day, we got the win, didn't we?
Yeah,
he asked me how I thought we played.
Yeah, what you going into the game, Phil? I mean, for me, I kind of sensed that everything was in the Raiders' favour. Numbers, home ground, full complement of players. And then is that one of the things that kind of hurt when you got started, was it? Or
not really sure, to be honest. I don't really know. When we got going, I don't know. I could make excuses and say we didn't like the conditions, but it was the same for Leamington. So I can't really use that as an excuse. I don't know whether there was maybe a bit of overconfidence, maybe underestimating them a bit. I don't really know.
Well, like you say, he was lucky. I say lucky. I mean, I think it was a really hard fought match, and you came out on top in the end. So, is that what has been like the story of the season in your eyes?
I think really we've been really strong at home, and we've been quite comfortable against most teams, particularly into the second half. We've had excuse me, sorry. One of the strong points of the whole season is we've had a squad of 20 for every single game. So when we've been at home, some of the travelling teams haven't brought that many, so that's helped us out. We've had pretty much a settled squad. The subs bench has changed every now and again, but the starting lineup, although it's not been identical week in, week out, I would imagine you're looking at least 10 players each week returning out every week. So that certainly helped us, settled us down. Going away, although we still took a full complement, I think, to every single game, for some reason we just weren't performing away from home. Whether it was the travel, I'm not really sure. We went down to Oxford and we were leading comfortably at half time and ended up getting beat. Then we were at Leamington and the first half was absolutely shocking and came back and just got beat in the last minutes by, I think it was 36-32 or something like that. So overall, obviously we've finished top of the league, so I'm really happy with that. But won every home game, lost everyone away except the last game at Coventry, which sealed the top spot.
Phil, just looking at the final now, what are the big stories in the run into this match? Who's going to be in, who's out? You know, who are you looking forward to see playing the final? Who deserves to have a good final in your opinion?
Well, we're waiting to see what's happening with our captain Denham, who got red carded in the semi-final. It'd be a real shame if he misses it. Because he's had a real good season, best one he's had probably since we won the final last in 2018, I think it was. Obviously, as you know, he's had a hip replacement. That's certainly affected him to start with. It'll be a shame if we without him. He's deserved it. We've got at the minute, I think we've got 29 lads available or made themselves available. So there's certainly going to be at least 9 lads missing out. It's going to be a shame for anyone that misses out, but I've got to pick, obviously, our strongest team. We're going out to win it. I'd like to see young Harry Owsley being just turned 17. It'd be great for him to get out there and perform as we all know he can. Liam sat there with you, has been one of our strong performers all season. So obviously expecting big things from him, and he'll put Dan Robinson into that as well. First season in Rugby League, and he's been absolutely excellent. A threat in pretty much every game.
Well, you might not recognise Liam at the minute. He's a bit bruised and battered. So
yeah, I've seen a photo of his arm. Yeah.
Phil, do you think you've created a strong culture amongst the side this year? That seems to be quite evident from myself being there. I think there's quite a strong culture within the club this year.
Yeah, I think we're a lot more of we're a lot more close knit, aren't we, this season than we have previously. I'm not sure why that is. It's maybe just because we're on a bit of a roll. I don't know. I think I could put it down to us playing out at Hornets as well, because it's sort of made us. We've got our own home as opposed to played on a school, then having to go to a local pub where you didn't always feel welcome. So I think that sort of brought us together a bit.
Right, and then looking towards the final then, Birmingham finished second in the table, Telford finished top, both joint on points, so there's nothing really in it. Good win for Telford at the start of the season, but then we went to Birmingham in the second half of the season and lost. What can you expect from them in the final?
Well, we just know it's got to be a real strong, hard, physical game, isn't it? They have some big, strong runners. To be honest as well, they've had, from what we've seen, they've named different teams week in, week out, so we don't know who's going to play. Obviously, they've got a core pool of players. We just know it's going to be big and hard, and we'll just have to put up with what they throw at us. I said at the start of the season when you interviewed me, I don't mean it disrespectfully, I don't really bother about who's coming out against us. I bother about what we're going to do, really.
And what's the sort of expectation from your lads then? What are you looking for this week as you build towards the final?
Well, obviously we've got 2 big training sessions. We want to get all the lads down there, work on a few little problems that we might have. Just prep, really. There's nothing. We're not going to change anything. There's just a few tweaks and that we might need to make with a few little things. That'll be it. Obviously, expectations are we go there and win, but who knows on the day? It's either team's going to win it, isn't they? 2 strong teams.
Phil, we'll kind of wrap it up there, but before we do, and I know we've got at least one more game to go this season, but just at this point now, looking around at the team and the lads around you, who do you think deserves a special mention from you as like a bit of a thanks for the help that they've given and the support that they've given you?
Well, Martin Foskett as my team manager, definitely. He's been fantastic this year. He's been team manager and the pitchside first aid guy. He's helped me out a lot. The first few weeks down at training, we were getting 30-odd people and only me there as a coach. So Martin, as a registered coach, was coming and helping us out. So a massive thanks to Martin. Recently, Joe Furlong as well. Joe's been helping me, taking a lot of the training sessions on a Wednesday night, and that's taken a load off me. So them 2 particularly, and then realistically, I would say just all the lads that turn up week in, week out. We know generally who's going to be at training with a few extras. Them guys coming down makes it a lot easier for us to gel, doesn't it? So I would say them 2 particularly, and then just everyone that's in, week out.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, Phil. Well, listen, I'll be there on the touch line cheering you on. So in the meantime, good luck.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Me and Liam will see you at training.
Yeah, you better do. Yeah,
clawing for a place.
I've sent Liam a text message asking him to reply soon, please.
Will do.
Cheers.
Phil. Okay,
there,
Phil.
mate.
Cheers. Take care.
Ta-ra.
It's a little bit Telford heavy this show today. I'm afraid. But you're here to balance it out. So first of all, congratulations on making it to the Midlands Final. You've had a few problems within the club at the start of the year, but you've essentially got stronger and stronger, haven't you, as the season's gone along? Got more settled. Club seems to be on a. You've got stronger as the year's gone on, haven't you?
Yeah, I think a lot of that is due to just consistency. Once we got a couple of the off-field things settled down, a few of the lads felt a bit more secure, and that they could play without worrying. Because even though you just want to go out on the pitch, whenever there's a bit of insecurity or a bit of doubt, it's going to have an effect. And as much as you try and shield your players from it, they'll still pick up on it, and they'll still pick up on almost a vibe in the club. Once we've got that settled down, the lads could just knuckle down and know they're on a secure footing. There's still a lot of work to do, but it's not in the same attitude as it was before. It's all a positive aspect now.
Yeah.
Sean, just if you look at your team now, what are the stories that are kind of coming out from your team as you run into the final? Are there players that you're looking forward to? You think they deserve to be in a final and perhaps even win a final? And who's is it a fresh season for somebody new to league and they're an emerging story?
There's a whole bunch of stories, as I'm sure it's the same with Telford. And to be honest, it's probably the same with any team that would reach the final. There's a whole lot of story. I've got lads who are new to it, so I've got lads who've just come down this season, and you find that they define themselves. They've been playing union, and maybe it doesn't really suit their style, but they don't know any different, and they come into it and they expand. I've got a lad in the forwards who I've seen him from the start of the season, and he started to find his voice and his role within the team, becoming more and more vocal. I've got a young lad who started this season, just turned 17, and his first open age game was when they came to Telford and got thrashed. That was his first open age game, and then he played against you guys when you came to us. And I think there was a moment in the game that I thought turned it. And I think that was when your fullback, Jamie, I think. The Jamie that plays fullback?
Yeah.
Got an intercept on the try line. He was going to go the distance. And then we hold him down. One of our wingers chased him down. He's got the same young lad. And he's gone from being in the side that's got thrashed to sticking with it and pulling off this try-saving tackle. And if it weren't for that tackle, I think Telford might have come back into that game then. But we could see the difference in body language after that tackle got made. And there's a load of stories like that. I've got one of the captains who's been with me for probably 10 years now. We met when we were both playing for the Ravens. And he came with me when we set up the South Birmingham Hawks. Yeah. And he's come with me to Birmingham Bulldogs. And his development as a player is really impressive to see. And he didn't play last season. So it's overdue for him to get there. So obviously we started off in the Ravens and not necessarily getting wins all the time there. And now we're in a position where he can get a trophy and a medal. And all that persistence paying off. And kind of, as he said earlier in the season, I followed you around for 10 years when we're there. So there's loads of stories that you can tell.
Yeah.
We could be here all night with it.
And so just moving on then, I mean, is there, Karl mentioned before about some of the disruptions that you've had within the team, and you don't want to labour that too much, but who's been around you, supporting you, helping out, getting the team moving forward, and deserves a bit of recognition there?
Well, a lot of it has been consistency in the player group. We've put new people in the committee, but again, there's been some not the same kind of disruption. So, for example, our new chairman that we put in Dan McHugh, really good bloke, really heavily invested in the Bulldogs, but has had some issues himself where he's not been able to be involved as he would like. So hopefully he'll pick that up in the future. But for me, it's been some of the players who have really stepped up and performed extra roles. So our co-captains, you've got Josh, who I've already talked about as a captain who gives me a lot of insight into team selections and what have you, which takes a lot of pressure off me. I've got Fergus, who's my other co-captain, who's taken over the social media and really given that a good going over, because we, as we said before, we got kicked out of all that, so we picked up social media. And it's just all the lads. There was a point in the season. I think the game after we lost to Telford, we played Oxford away, and we lost by 2, but we went with 15, and we didn't have any half-backs. And Oxford's a difficult place to go. Yeah. But there was, I just said to the lads, we didn't play well against Telford. Just show me that you can play. Show me that you're a team after what we've gone through. And it was after that we took a picture and put it on social media. And after that, there was a picture of us all the lads together, and it showed me then that there was a team there ready to work together. We lost by 2, but it wasn't about the loss on that day. It was about the lads sticking together, and it's that really that has helped us through. So there's a couple of lads who've taken it upon themselves to do a few bits more. But really, realistically, it's all the people involved in the club who have felt the responsibility of what could have happened to us earlier in the season and not let it happen. Mm. So it's difficult to pick out any one person with that, because everybody's taken on a bit more.
Yeah, so you've almost created yourselves a bit of an underdog story, haven't you? I think at the start of the year, you probably went into the league as probably as favourites, winning it the sort of previous year, and then you've had a little bit of turmoil, and you've the lads have all stuck together, and now you've really created a story for yourself. Looking at the final, then. Obviously, you've played Telford twice, a heavy defeat in one, and then a strong win at home. What can you expect from the final?
I don't think it'll be one-sided, the final. So we've had 2 one-sided games so far. I don't think it'll be one-sided. I think it's 2 teams that are desperate to win again. We want to retain. Yeah. Telford want to get it back. I think Telford won in 2018. I think. Yeah. So Telford want it back, and I think Telford. From what I understand, for speaking to Fred, last season, I think Telford got hit really hard with COVID, and took a while to build back up. Yeah. So the rebuild that Telford have done in terms of how they started the season, how they're carrying on, and leading the way in the leagues in this season. I mean, we've finished second on points difference, but the way that Telford have led the league through the season, I think they're going to be really hungry for it. So I think this is going to be a really close game. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a penalty or a drop goal towards the end, or a try right near the end that settles it.
Yeah.
So I can't see it being one-sided this time.
Yeah, we are definitely set for an absolute belter of a final. I mean, I don't know if you got a bit of a rundown on the semi-final. I was there watching, and it was a cracker. They just two sets of lads just absolutely beat each other up. And it was great. It was great to watch.
Yeah, there was absolutely nothing in it, to be honest with you, between Telford and Leamington, which is testament to how good the season's been this year for all teams. You've got to be slightly disappointed that you haven't played a semi-final, though. Do you think that's going to hinder you any kind of way, or do you think it's help?
Sorry, I just lost you at the end there.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying you missed out on having to play a semi-final.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to have hindered you in any kind of way, or do you think it's going to be a bit of a help?
That remains to be seen, to be honest. We echo the disappointment that we didn't get to play the semi-final for two reasons. You want to play a semi-final. You want that feeling of winning the semi-final and earning your way into the final. And also, because Oxford couldn't fulfil the league fixture earlier in the season, and they beat us at their place, we hadn't had the chance to get that back. We hadn't had a chance to get the revenge on them, so we would have liked that as well.
Yeah.
In terms of the way the season is in the Midlands, you get 2 or 3 weeks at a time sometimes where you don't have a game. So it remains to be seen whether this not having a semi-final is going to be a hindrance or not for us, or whether it's just part and parcel of the season. I think it's on us as a club, and for me as a coach, our next 2 training sessions to keep our momentum going from the last game we had and make them worthwhile, because that's where we need to pick our momentum up and make sure that they're good training sessions. And that's my challenge on it, so that we've got to look at that. So you've obviously with your game against Leamington, and that's your third close game against Leamington, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you've had the battle hardened there. Is it going to go in your favour? Who knows? We'll have to see.
Yeah, I just have to see. Sean, I've really enjoyed talking to you. I wish you all the best for the final. I'll be there watching. So definitely come over and say hello, and good luck for it.
Thank you very much, and good luck to all you lads as well.
And you, Sean. Just quickly, is there any a rallying call to any of your fans to get down and support you on the day?
I think if anybody's listening, it doesn't matter if you're a Bulldogs fan or a Telford fan or a fan of any club in the Midlands. Just get down to Leamington on the 19th and watch Rugby League in the Midlands. For what I understand, the women's game's on as well before it.
It is, yeah.
So you've got a women's game on, you've got a men's game on, and just have a look at, or even if you're just a fan of sport in general, come down to Leamington on the 19th and have a look at what Rugby League's doing in the Midlands. So it doesn't matter who you support, just get there and watch the spectacle.
Sean, I think that is a perfect way to end the call, mate, and appreciate that, yeah. So best of luck in the final, and we'll see you on the 19th, mate.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Cheers.
Take care, mate.
Bye-bye.
I think those two coaches both kind of playing it down a little bit, but I mean, it's obvious that, they both want to win. They're both hungry
absolutely
for a win there. And, little bit of toing and froing, but they're obviously going to throw everything to the next 2 training sessions. You two will obviously, you'll experience that firsthand. So what's this final mean for you two then?
It means a lot to me.
I start crying.
I mean, I wasn't fully decided if I were going to play this year.
Yeah.
And, I've decided to have another crack at it. I want to finish on a high. I ain't going to lie. So, yeah, if I don't win it, I've got to go around again.
Yeah. I've got to say, on the semi-final, I was there watching. I don't know if you agree or not, but Telford looked a bit lost at the start.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like the little niggly. Leamington have got this amazing ability just to niggle you. Like just niggle all the time.
Yeah, Pete were playing though, wasn't he?
Yeah, the chief niggler. And, so there was lots of niggling going on, and Raiders, they were just falling foul to that. The game changed when you went on, Karl. It did.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't often like give him a little pat on the back, but, it definitely did. And they suddenly started getting a bit more structure and just a bit of experience on the pitch, and it definitely showed. So, what about you, Cash? What's the final mean to you?
I think the main thing for me was snapping my knee at the start of last season. My main goal was just to get back to playing, and to get to the final is just everything's just a bonus for me now. Like I think meeting all the boys and how well we get on all in training, I think this is just the cherry on top for me.
Yeah, it has been a special group of guys this year, hasn't it? It seems to be quite tight knit.
Yeah, I'd just like to echo what Sean said at the end of the interview, though. Really, just to anybody that's thinking of coming to watch, get yourselves down on the 19th and watch, because it really has been a cracking season this year. And we've been saying it all year. You don't know who's going to win from one week to the next. Teams from 1 to 5 on the day could have won. So I'm excited to play in it, hopefully, if I get picked. Got to say that. Phil will be kicking my ass for that. I'm really excited. I want a big crowd there. I think Birmingham and Telford, they're going to showcase what the best of the Midlands rugby's got to offer. And I hope people get down there, support it, and we really put on a good show. That's the main thing for me.
Yeah,
win or lose, hope it's a good game.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, so this is the point where we hand over. We're going to talk to Liam Cashman, who's a player at Telford Raiders, and just dig a little bit into your journey through rugby league to being sat here. You mentioned already about snapping your ACL, knackering your meniscus in your knee not too long ago, and we were just chatting before, and there was a point in which you was like, am I ever going to play again? And then from there, fast forward 18 months, 12 months, 18 months, or whatever, and now you're kind of 2 weeks away from the final. So just talk to me a little bit about how you got into rugby league.
Yeah, so growing up in West Wales, obviously you don't get any rugby league. My first real go at it was in university. I joined Bath Rugby League, the university side, and it was a really lucky setup I walked into where...
Did you play union before that then?
Yeah, I played union before that. I played the standard sort of county level.
Played that down a bit.
I know, the standard
sort of county. That was pretty big, mate, that is, to be honest with you.
But when I turned up to Bath, there was, I think, 3 student internationals in the team that played the year before, and one of them had gone on to play for the Welsh first team. So when I joined that team, it was it was inspiring. You see these guys and you watch them play, and the difference between union to watching a pack go at each other in a game of league it's completely different, isn't it?
Yeah.
And those guys just really inspired me. And it really suited my game style, I think. I think when you play in the back row in union and then you move over to league, you get more time on the ball, you get more space. And if you want to work hard, you can carry as much as you can in a game. There's no restriction on you. I just fell in love with it straight away. I think the year that I started playing was the year that Sam Burgess fractured his cheekbone in the grand final, and the same year that Ben Flower knocked out Lance. So it was everything in the news as well. It was a massive year, I think. And it was just such a natural feeling game for me.
So obviously you mentioned you play in the pack. I mean, what's a big part of your game, do you think? If someone was to say, describe Cash, what would they say is the main part of your game?
Yeah, I think I'm definitely not probably the fastest or the biggest, but it tends to be the work rate that really sees me probably impact the team. Definitely when we're need a big carry off our goal line or constant tackling, I can play a decent amount of minutes. I like to think so. That definitely seems to be one of my strongest things is just constant effort.
I could have answered that for you.
Could you?
He's a
well, go on then. You tell us.
Cash is a crash ball runner.
Is that?
Yeah. He's the sort of guy you want.
Courageous.
Yeah, as an halfback, just on your shoulder, and you just. You know the sort of player that you always know is going to be there, but you ain't got to look for him.
Yeah.
So you can throw a little dummy. All of a sudden, he's on your right hand shoulder and he's crash balling, and he's always there. Definitely, he's a crash ball runner, and never lets you down.
Yeah. So just take me back to them when you first, you first turned up at the Raiders, and I think it was in a friendly, wasn't it, that you you knackered your knee. Just talk us through like the events there and kind of what happened.
Yeah, I'd been playing some rugby union in Shrewsbury, just waiting for the league season to start, like counting down the days, and turned up and pre-season was going well. We had a load of players down, and the first friendly was RAF Cosford. So I went over. It was April, end of April, baking hot. The ground was solid, and about 25 minutes in, with no one around me, I tore my ACL. Just went down in a heap. Didn't know what had happened. Brushed it off, thinking, "Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I'll be playing in 2 weeks. It's fine."
Yeah.
And yeah, get the bad news from the doctor that I'd torn my ACL, both meniscus. I was looking at about 15 months out, which was tough.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Have you had a serious injury, Karl?
This will be funny. Yeah, I tore my ACL. Do you know where I did it?
Cosford.
RAF Cosford on the same pitch a few years before. That's where my knee problem started, yeah.
No way.
So, yeah, exactly the same as you.
I blame the pitch.
Yeah, blame the pitch.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
So,
well, hang on a minute. Was it this year one of their lads got a serious injury as well?
Same game.
Yeah, same game. It's cursed, that
yeah,
pitch.
it is cursed. And what I'm getting at there is we've all had those moments where we think, I might not play again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What kind of things were you thinking in those times? What kind of kept you going? Because I know you threw yourself into your rehab, didn't you, and worked really hard on your rehab. Like, what was motivating you for that?
Yeah, I think at that time I was looking at 26 with no like guarantee of like for recovery being that quick or surgery like happening in a short amount of time. But whether I would play again, like if it did take 2 years to get back to rugby, like would I be mentally like up for it? But I think I made the decision early that my goal was just for the following season, for this season, to make that my goal. And so yeah, just as soon as I set it, it was just easy. Just focused on getting all the rehab done, following all the steps, and just getting back ready for it. And I was really excited for I was itching to go when all the boys are playing pre-season. And my physio told me, no, it's 2 more weeks until you're allowed to play. I probably could have, but I trusted in what he said, stuck with it, and then got to play my first game Oxford away this year, which was really good, really exciting to get back.
Yeah.
And we missed a big part of his story out there, so I'm going to rewind it a little bit. So after you played at Bath at university, what were your next steps in rugby league after that?
So in my first year, I went and did South West England trials, and ended up playing for the South West England rep side, and then got picked for Wales students as well. So I played in the Student Four Nations up in Edinburgh, which was really good. It was an incredible coaching team, such a good experience. A number of players in that team went on to play for the full Welsh international side, which was like a great place just to be, to learn.
Yeah.
And then off the back of that, I went and played in the South Wales Scorpions League One side, which was, again, like a completely different environment, very like a semi-professional club, which put a lot more pressure on you, but also it was a great place to learn and to grow, and also the opportunity to play a little bit further afield. Playing up in Yorkshire, which was a far tougher place to play.
Cracking story, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't know any of that.
No, yeah. So, how many years did you play for South Wales Scorpions then?
I was there for 2 seasons.
2 seasons.
Started off in the reserves, which I think the first game I played was up in Siddle against Halifax reserves. They had a couple of players on dual reg from like Huddersfield or somewhere, and it was raining. The mud must have been it felt like a foot deep.
Yeah.
And these lads were just sprinting through it like it was nothing. And I just remember I was playing loose forward or prop and just looking up as another prop was running straight at me, and you're trying to get your footing in the mud, and I was like, oh, this is awful. But you look back fondly, and the hard times like that, which really teach you what you're capable of.
How would you compare the standard of rugby in the Midlands then to the standard that you've played in the past, like the League One stuff and that?
I think the difference between League One is only the choice to take the step up. When you see some of the players and how capable they are when they come down from pathways and where they've been in the academies, they're very well-rounded rugby players. But a lot of amateur players, the only difference I'd say to take that step up is putting the time and effort in and training hard and being professional in terms of like how hard those guys will train and work and then play rugby.
The only difference I really see when I want to watch it on the side, watch League One to watch a sort of community standard, is the speed of the game. Everyone's fitter and it's a lot faster. You don't. The hits are still as big whether you play Super League, Championship, League One, community level. People, it's still 13 lads going against each other and whacking each other for 80 minutes. So, yeah, I think the speed is the main thing, speed and fitness. But I think, Well,
the games I've watched in the Midlands this year, I don't think I've ever seen as high a completion rate in an amateur kind of setup. You know what I mean? It's like in the past, like if you got to a kit, like it'd be like complete, and it'd be the big call all the time. Need to complete, build pressure. Now we just regularly get to the kick. You know, and it's that's what stands out for me. So yeah, interesting.
I don't think they call the Midlands a developing league, and I suppose I take a little bit of offence in that because there's a lot of players, although there's only sort of 5 teams in the league we compete in, the players who are playing in it are pretty rounded players and have been playing for a long time, haven't they? With a mix of new lads coming in, I think the standard's decent this year. I think it's really decent. Final then, Cash. Looking forward to that?
Yeah, really looking forward to it. I think after Leamington, my body's feeling a lot worse for wear.
I'm going to say, can you see the bruise on your arm on the camera? Look at that. That's amateur rugby for you. That is.
some of the guys that play for Leamington, like they're young, like really really talented rugby players. Like their prop who played for England students. He was just non-stop. Like they were really well drilled, fast attacking side. But I think we questioned their defence when they came to us, and when we went to them, they put a lot of points on us, but they could also concede a lot of points. And I think that was probably something that I was thinking, a lot of people were thinking, and then they turned up and were just like we couldn't get through them. They couldn't get through our defence, and I don't think anyone had scored until the 32nd, third minute. And I think the ball felt like it hadn't moved from between our 30 and their 40 metre line. And it felt like we just took one-up hits and smashed each other for probably literally half an hour.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty accurate description of the game, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, it was some pretty shit conditions as well to play against, where the ball was slippy. You know what I mean? It was hard to keep hold of that, and some silly little mistakes and that. But it was a great gladiatorial match. I think I would describe it.
Yeah. So Liam, you come to Telford this year. You've also sort of brought a couple of your mates with you, haven't you? Really? Do you think that's helped to create a sort of strong? Because between yourself and Isaac and that you've created sort of a bit of a strong bond within the team, I believe. Do you think that's right to say?
Yeah, I think definitely compared with the season before where me and Ollie came over.
Yeah.
The addition of having Isaac and George and Ollie, and we're like training every single week. Isaac had never played rugby league before. He never played rugby union except for as a small kid, and now he's playing week in, week out. Like moved in from the wing to centre to playing second row, and then he gets thrown in at prop, and he absolutely loves it. And I think it's massive for having a little hub of Shrewsbury players coming over. But then what's really important as well is when we turn up and feel so welcomed by the Telford lads.
Yeah.
The Shrewsbury Telford sort of rivalry and union is pretty well known. And I think people like Denham and Nathan, they make you feel so welcome when you turn up. The leadership team really does get in and try and talk to every single player that gets down. And I think that's been really important for us. Coming over and just feeling so welcome and sticking with it. And I think it's something that needs to grow like getting more players down so that we can eventually get like a development side out like Bedford can.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when I turned up at Telford and like, you know, Dens and Nathan were the two lads that really kind of welcomed me in, like, you know, and I think that's just a role they play really, really well. Yeah,
and they're still there now, aren't they? But like I say, you guys, I think, have been sort of an integral part of the team building this year. I think you've kind of been the glue that sort of held it all together. I think that was the missing piece that hasn't been there for a couple of years, just that bit of consistency. A group of lads that's going to keep that consistency, be there every year. So, yeah, it's been great that you've been down this year. It's really, really enjoyed playing with all of you, to be honest with you.
And what about, who have you enjoyed playing with? I mean, you mentioned a couple of people there, but who's been like the standout performers for you? And
I think I'd have to say when Karl,
Karl?
I've never seen someone such a like small halfback, and then he gets in for the team talk before a game, and I've never seen someone so angry. The angriest man.
This is amazing. We need to get
amazing.
Karl
like,
Camp.
I remember being at training on the Wednesday, and he was already like, he was so ready to go. But it's the passion that you feel, and it's like before the game against Leamington, the passion that you could feel when like Karl just wants to us to win, but you can just see it in his eyes, like. And it's the same thing. We've got some really talented young players at Telford as well, like Ethan, who's played Wales under-19s. We've got Harry and Tom, both of them are 17, and they're such talented lads. And it's amazing to see when you do turn up to training and you have these guys that can throw the ball around and kick in, do everything, and they're so. But as well, it's the buy-in that everyone is training regularly, which really has helped us, I think, to gel together as a team.
Yeah, are you still learning at the Raiders? As you personally, I mean, you know, when you go to training, are you still learning new things? Are you still developing as a player?
Yeah, I think definitely. Like for me, turning up, sometimes like you question your not your ability, but sometimes your ability to voice how you help people. And I still feel like I'm developing, and I think part of that as well is having those young guys that you can help out, especially getting like 27. Like you've got some experience now to pass on, and I think that's like the important thing is that you carry on developing how you bring the guys around you as well as your own game.
Yeah. Okay, so we're at the point where we have a golden point question. Now, we've not had a golden point question set for a couple of weeks. However, I've come up with one myself just for Liam here. So the golden point question this week is, in your opinion, what do you think we need to do in the Midlands to have a stronger season in 2024 than we have in 23? Because I think we all agree that it's been a belting season so far. So what do you think?
I think more teams in the league is one way that we can strengthen it. If it's the development teams stepping up, or potentially some other teams from around like the Midlands coming into the league, I think that's where like we'll see the natural progression. Getting up to a 6-team league with the development, or potentially throwing in a cup game as well. I think that's where like getting some more game time for people to really step up is what I think will strengthen it.
Yeah, Karl, what do you think?
Yeah, a couple more teams would make it a really strong division, and I'm going to put a call out right now to Sherwood and Derby to come back into the Midlands League next year.
I think they will.
I don't know. They're exiled in Yorkshire at the minute, aren't they? Playing in the Yorkshire 4. But yeah, guys, come back to the Midlands League next year. Put a bit of pressure on you, and it'll be an even stronger tournament, I think.
Yeah, and what I'll say is what we can't afford to do is just take a backward step now. You know, this year has been great on so many levels, and we can't let it go. You know, we've got to keep these clubs going and people pushing forward, and the minimum standard is what we've done this year. You know, across all the teams, all the social media, and all that kind of stuff.
But a cup competition would be good, wouldn't it? Or a nines competition. Maybe we have the Rugby League Outsiders nines or something. A pre-season tournament.
Yeah, a little festival. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Karl, anything else that you want to ask our guest, or you want to get across before we wrap up?
No, I'm just looking forward to hopefully having this man on my shoulder as we go into the final in 2 weeks' time. It's going to be a cracking cracking occasion for Midlands rugby.
Brilliant. Okay, so if you haven't done so already, obviously we're getting towards the real business end of the season. You're not going to want to miss any episodes. So if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. Make sure you like, comment, follow, share, all that stuff that you know what to do on social media and
spread the word.
And spread the word, and that way you'll keep up to date with everything that we're doing as well. So, Cash, thank you very much for joining us on the settee this week. It's been great chatting to you. Best of luck, lads. I genuinely mean this. I wish I could say I'm neutral. I'm not. I'm Raiders through and through. But I am interested in how that final's going to go, and I'm also interested in how the other finals in other parts of the country go as well. So, best of luck with that. And yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Sure.
As a bit of a look forward then, we talked about having a little ring around for the women's.
Yeah, so obviously I'd like to get the women's teams that are going to be competing in the final next week. I'd love to get those on. So if you're watching, the call's going out to you, get in touch with us. We'd love to get you involved. So like I say, it's the first Midlands league that we've had. There's also the Southern Super League, Women's Super League as well. So if there's any ladies out there that are going to be taking part in that after the semi-finals commence this weekend, please get in touch. We'd love to have you on. And that'll round off the series nicely, I think.
Okay, brilliant. So until the next episode, take care.
Cheers.
That's the final whistle for this week's episode of the Rugby League Outsiders. We hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to follow us on social media and share this podcast with your friends. And as always, if you have a story to tell, a club to plug, or a player that deserves recognition, we want to hear from you. So until next time on the Rugby League Outsiders, take care.